Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the Code of Honor podcast. My name is Kiley. I'm one of your co-hosts. This is my co-host Kyle, and we have kind of an easy breezy, fun week for you all. We don't have anything. There's still no major ROH news, but we're getting progress on the ROH front. So, we got a new ROH logo. And I have my own thoughts on it. I'm not a fan, but I need to know what Kyle thinks. We haven't talked about this yet, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
No, we haven't actually. And I'm going to take the opposite tack and say, I'm not a graphic designer, but I don't mind it. I like where I think they're going with it. I see the comparisons to the logo that they ran, during their golden years from 06 to about 10 or so when the Sinclair purchase happened, and they changed up to the logo that you see on our header there now. I think it's a fun little throwback. The color scheme is keeping that red and black motif. It's got some of the same sort of design features, but you've sort of upgraded it to given a slightly different look.
Maybe I'm just too attached to this ROH logo. I think that's just such a good logo. Maybe I just need time. I need to learn that this isn't the ROH of the past. And I just got to grow up and deal with it.
It kind of is, though. I mean, we're definitely embracing the past with that one. The logo that they've used for the last 10 years or so, if I'm being honest, I've never been a huge fan. It looks like it should be tattooed on a 25-year-old man's bicep. And
wow. That's some harsh criticism.
But the product was good. So, I'm not going to complain about a logo. No, at no point in history has a logo kept someone from watching a promotion, and this will be no different.
That's fair. Well, I have a nice segue. One thing that does keep people from watching a promotion is bad women's wrestling. But I don't know if we're going to get that in Ring of Honor because we got news. Maria Kanellis is still in talks with Tony Khan about being part of Ring of Honor. Not sure what capacity she would be involved in, but prior to the hiatus/not hiatus ROH went on, she was involved. Maria, of course, has been involved in Ring of Honor as a talent in the past, and her husband, Mike Bennett. So I think this is really interesting, and I hope that, we have a women's champion, but we have no women's roster, basically. So I hope this means we're going to have a strong women's presence in Ring of Honor.
Yes, that news broke over the last week or so. Maria deserves gobs of credit. I also want to make sure I give flowers to Bobby Cruz as well, who was very involved in the division as also prior to the hiatus. And the two of them are still involved with the Women's Wrestling Army project, which is doing some fun things. They just taped a few matches that I was able to be in attendance for at Warrior Wrestling over Forbidden Door weekend in Chicago. So there was some tremendous stuff there. They'll be back in Chicago July 8th and 9th for another taping. So that project is continuing along to support great women's wrestling there. And in the course of hearing things over the last couple of weeks, yes, Maria does sound very positive. She sounds very optimistic that something is going to come of all these discussions with Tony Khan. I believe one of the reports also indicated that because she's not technically a talent with Impact, she does not believe that there would be any problems working with both companies potentially. So because she wouldn't be a talent with ROH, I should say. I think I said that. So no, it seems like something that could be good to go, and we'll get a little bit more into our thoughts about the future of the ROH Women's World Title later on today. We'll be talking obviously about Death Before Dishonor coming up in July, and we'll get more to that as we get closer on in the episode.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this know Ring of Honor and women's wrestling have a complicated past. It hasn't always been great. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see it be great, though. I think there's a lot. I think women's wrestling has come very far, especially in the pandemic era, shockingly. So I don't know. I'm just excited by it, and I'm excited by the potential of Maria being involved because she's such a great talent. She has such a great wrestling brain. I love Maria. So, in other news, like I said, we got a lot of news, guys, but we're here for it. We've been waiting for news for weeks, so I love this.
We've been asking for this every single week, so
yeah. So I'll save all the Forbidden Door stuff for last, but let's talk about Wheeler Yuta and Tony Nese. Wheeler Yuta, of course, is the pure champion. He's done some stuff with the title, but he was off doing things in Japan, and it was a whole thing. But Tony Nese, I think it would be an incredible addition to the Ring of Honor roster. I think he's great in this pure division and these pure title matches. So, Kyle, did you see the match, first off? And second off, what did you think, one, of our champion, and two, of a potential addition to our roster?
Loved it. The build was, I feel like some people would call the build a little slapdash, to be fair, but I feel like in character, that is 100% the thing for Tony Nese, to go out and say, I won one pure match against a scrub. I am clearly ready to go challenge Wheeler Yuta. that is pure Tony Nese, and it's kind of perfect. And he delivered. The match itself was very good. And once again, you guys, don't sleep on Dark and Elevation. You're getting some really good ROH title matches there. Mercedes Martinez has had a number of excellent women's world title defenses there against a variety of opponents. Wheeler Yuta has come in and had some great matches. He had a tremendous outing against Josh Woods at one point as well. So those matches are out there, and they're free on YouTube. Go find them. It's Monday and Tuesday. It doesn't take that much of your time, and it's great stuff. As to Tony Nese and Ring of Honor, I think it's a great fit. I love the character that he portrays. He can bring it in the ring. I think he can work as a babyface or a heel. And there's a history of this type of character in Ring of Honor, going back to when Roderick Strong was running his Camp Strong bit with Truth Martini. That's a very similar kind of character. Top athlete, big gas tank, with a manager that can talk a big game. Go back to Chris Hero. I'm always going to get an opportunity to talk about Chris Hero.
Always Chris Hero with you. Always.
Oh, gee, what a shame that I talk about a tremendous professional wrestler on a show about tremendous professional wrestling. But prior to the young knockout kid gimmick, Chris Hero operated on a similar premier athlete style gimmick when he first started with Sweet and Sour Incorporated in Ring of Honor. After coming off of the CZW feud, Hero was kind of in a sort of a nebulous area. He and Claudio had been teaming and been doing their thing, but once Hero hooked up with Sweet and Sour and got in that whole act with Tank Toland as the personal trainer and Bobby Dempsey as the student who was trying to lose weight and just turned out to be the pariah of the group, that whole, it was played for a lot of comedy, which was something you didn't have those level of characters at that point, but he could also bring it in the ring. I think Nese is a really valuable tool for that locker room, and I think it'd be a great addition.
Yeah, Tony Nese was one of the guys when he signed with AEW that I didn't really understand why he was there. Of course, he's a tremendous professional wrestler. As far as I know, he's a tremendous person in the locker room. But AEW's roster is so big and so full of talent that his place there didn't seem clear to me. But now that, we have ROH, and after seeing this match, I think he makes perfect sense in Ring of Honor. And I don't think that putting him in Ring of Honor means he has to be there forever. I think and I think it's clear, there's going to be a lot of talent transition to and from Ring of Honor and AEW. I think it's really interesting to see Wheeler Yuta taking on talent like this. I will admit and I think I said this in a past episode, I was concerned that the pure title and the television title would become just an afterthought in AEW. That Tony Khan would say, this is like our world title, and that's all we're going to do with Ring of Honor. We're going to have 2 world titles. Everything else doesn't matter. But it's been the exact opposite, which is really interesting to see. And I'm glad that Wheeler Yuta's in this spot. I think he's a tremendous addition both to Ring of Honor and to the Blackpool Combat Club. And I think he's really shining as a star. And I'm so glad he's in AEW.
Absolutely. And with the Forbidden Door, if you'll forgive the phrase, still being a little cracked open, as well as we're taping this, it'll be tomorrow on AEW Rampage, where the Young Bucks will be taking on Goto and Yoshihashi. If that door is still cracked open a bit, Wheeler Yuta lost to a few people during the course of Best of Super Juniors as the pure champion. And I would have to think that at least a couple of them would be interested in coming stateside and seeing if they can take that belt from him. El Desperado. He lost to Despy at one point in the Best of Super Juniors. I'd love Wheeler Yuta and El Desperado in a pure match. Let's get some of those guys over here and do it too. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. And I think we'll definitely get something like that, because transitioning into other Forbidden Door news, the ROH World Tag Team Champions, FTR, are now also, in addition to being the AAA Tag Team Champions, are now also the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. 7-star FTR. I got the tattoo. But I don't know. And, by all means, this is just speculation. I don't want anyone to run with this. But ROH and New Japan do have that long working history. Check out our Japan episode. And I would be interested to see if New Japan and ROH establish something like that moving forward. Of course, it could just be FTR and Wheeler Yuta and, whoever else decides to work with Japan. But I don't know. I feel like with New Japan focused on its Western expansion, again, after the pandemic, of course, and Ring of Honor getting back up off the ground, and AEW wanting to expand globally into Japan, I feel like it makes sense for people like Wheeler Yuta and FTR. And I would love to see our women's champ do something in Stardom, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I think it makes a lot of sense for the champions to be involved in this kind of stuff. And I think FTR, and I don't know how long they're going to stay around in Ring of Honor, but I think they're a huge addition to Ring of Honor. And I think their position in the tag division in New Japan speaks volumes to the amount of trust that New Japan is putting in Tony Khan's hands right now.
Definitely. And I'm with you. I don't think FTR is hanging around ROH for the long term. I'd give them about 6 months after the relaunch or thereabouts. Whenever the relaunch actually happens, give it about 6 months, because as of right now, the entire ROH tag division, as far as we know, is Khan and Toa Leona.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the one Tully Blanchard Enterprises team, and that's it. And they're both great. I love both of them. They're both really good acts. I love the stable of monsters that Tully's building, but I can't get excited about them beating FTR either right now, though.
Yeah, I don't think they're in a position to beat FTR, and maybe they will be in 6 months or a year whenever FTR loses the belts. I don't know. It's FTR, right? And maybe this is just the fan in me, but I see FTR as like the top of tag team wrestling. And as of right now, as of us recording this, there's no indication that there's going to be another top tag team in ROH. So we're going to have to build one, and we don't have weekly TV. And so Wheeler Yuta's lucky in the sense that there's a plethora of singles, opponents available for him in AEW that can easily hop into ROH at any time. But FTR is not in that position. Like, who are you going to put in ROH that's in AEW in your tag division? There's no one who's FTR's caliber there. So I think I don't know. I feel like they've really booked themselves into a bad place. As much as I love FTR having, star number 6, I'm a little worried that they're going to get dethroned by Tully Blanchard Enterprises.
It could happen. You know, I think it's safe to say that nothing's for sure yet, obviously,
Yeah.
and I'm with you in the sense that right now I'm probably more interested in what they're going to do with the IWGP tag titles than with the ROH tag titles as of right now. Because I've talked about this on this show, I've talked about it on Twitter. I want FTR versus Dangerous Tekkers. I want that match bad. I want that to happen.
Let's
But
start a petition.
you know, I've seen somebody suggest FTR versus the Gorillas of Destiny. I'm like, yeah, that'd be good. I got love for some Zack Sabre Jr. here. So
Oh, you know what? You just gave me the best segue. Speaking of Zack Sabre Jr., at Forbidden Door, he was supposed to wrestle, Bryan Danielson. It didn't work out. Danielson's injured, but we had a mystery opponent. And our mystery opponent turned out to be none other than Kyle's probably, you know what? I'm going to call you a Claudio stan. It was Claudio Castagnoli. He debuted. He had incredible entrance music. He looked incredible. He came to the ring, had an incredible match. He did the swing. He did all the Claudio things. Lots of ROH stuff that I don't know why he wasn't doing in WWE, but that's besides the point. And he beat Zack Sabre Jr. And then, of course, he went on to Blood and Guts, where he had another incredible performance with the Blackpool Combat Club, and they beat the Jericho Appreciation Society. Kyle, first and foremost, what was your reaction to Claudio? Because we were both there in Chicago.
yes.
I lost my mind when I saw Claudio. I had convinced myself it was not going to happen, that there's no way. I need to know your thoughts on his debut, and then I also need to know your thoughts on this report that he could have been in Ring of Honor.
Lot to unpack there. Right, first off, I will say I'm going to do a little plug here early and say I am currently working on a long-form piece for Body Slam about the history between Claudio Castagnoli and Eddie Kingston, which we saw a little bit of at the end of Forbidden Door, and we saw a little bit of during Blood and Guts and during the post-match there as well. There's a lot of history there, and if I have one niche in this field, this is it. Sorry about that. I'm still recovering from COVID here. This was what happened with last week's episode, so still getting over that. But as far as Claudio, I don't know where my mind was at, honestly, at Forbidden Door, because I didn't want to get my hopes up too high either, but I had also reached a point where of all the available free agents, very few of them made sense but Claudio. I was going into the match where Johnny Gargano didn't really seem to fit the Blackpool Combat Club mold, despite being an excellent technical wrestler. And he posted a picture getting on a plane back to Orlando anyway. I was in a position where I didn't think it was going to be Jonathan Gresham, because we've seen Gresham on AEW TV in the lead up. He'd made reference to being in Ring of Honor, and just debuting him in this way just didn't seem to make a lot of sense. And also, I've talked about this before, can we please get the Foundation versus Blackpool Combat Club?
It makes sense.
Oh my goodness. I mean, give me Gresham, Hot Sauce, Rhett Titus, and Josh Woods against Danielson, Moxley, Claudio, and Yuta.
Do it.
Amazing. There were other names. My friend and I, who had traveled to Forbidden Door with, had talked about Biff Busick. We talked about Timothy Thatcher. Some excellent names that would have put out tremendous matches. But I really think that Tony's been burned in the past on big names that weren't actually big names, and he wanted to deliver that.
Yeah.
But that being said, I lost my mind. It was absolutely insane. I was sitting next to our producer Jameis. I'm pretty sure I hugged him.
I love that.
So it was tremendous. And as to word that he was going to debut in Ring of Honor potentially, I love that. I think he's an enormous star. I think he brings a huge amount of star power to the roster. I think Gresham versus Claudio would be an absolutely amazing match. But given the way things had to happen with Bryan Danielson, it's entirely possible now that we don't see Claudio in Ring of Honor anymore. He's now needed in the Blackpool Combat Club. He's established in AEW. You know, it's possible that we missed that chance.
Yeah, and I think you and I had talked about this. I would like to see sort of a chapter of the Blackpool Combat Club in Ring of Honor. I think it would be really interesting to have factions split between Ring of Honor and AEW. And I am entirely convinced that Claudio was going to be in Ring of Honor. And I think they thought, even if he debuts in AEW, we can always put him in Ring of Honor with Wheeler Yuta, and they can kind of do their thing over there. But with the reception that he's gotten and the way fans are excited to see him, and the recent, ratings dropped 3 hours ago, the ratings for this episode back over 1 million. I don't think Tony's putting him in Ring of Honor anytime soon. I think he's going to keep Claudio over in AEW, and I think they'll add some more young stars to the Blackpool Combat Club. I think Daniel Garcia will end up there, especially, I don't know if you saw it, Jericho was cutting a promo with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he mentioned me, Sammy Guevara, and Suzuki. And when he said Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia just blank face, staring off in the distance, clearly not pleased that Sammy Guevara is infiltrating on his spot as Jericho's little mentee. So I think we'll probably get something there soon with Daniel Garcia moving. But as for Claudio, I think this debut was major. His pop was incredible. Like I said, his theme music is incredible. I think he's wrestling it a lot better than he has in a long time, which is absurd to say because he hasn't been gone from WWE that long. But I think he's doing a lot. And I don't know, I'm excited to see him work with Eddie Kingston. I'm excited to see, which I think that feud is going to break my heart, but it is what it is. I don't doubt that we'll see him in ROH, but I don't think he's going to be a mainstay there. That's just my opinion. You having trouble? Well, anyway, I'll keep talking. I love to talk about Forbidden Door. I thought Forbidden Door was just an incredible show. And I said this on Twitter. I think it might be my favorite pay-per-view I've seen, that I've seen live. And I've seen a lot of wrestling pay-per-views live. And I think this was incredible. We had a lot of New Japan stuff. We had callbacks to the Bullet Club. The Young Bucks came out and they were Bullet Club for one night only. They had the Bullet Club music. They had their old Bullet Club jackets with the ROH logo and, the Young Bucks skull with the rifles. So good. I'm really... You're muted.
I hate to interrupt you here, but I'm also pretty sure that I saw somebody point out on Twitter that gear was also a throwback to their ROH six-man team with Adam Page.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we've been getting a lot of Young Bucks, Adam Page references, I guess. Yes. At the end of the four-way, of course, the Young Bucks and Kyle O'Reilly come out. Adam Cole, he's injured. Prayers to Adam Cole. And Hangman's there, and Hangman's not doing well either. The Young Bucks kind of hesitate. They look down at Adam Cole, and they look over, they see Hangman. They're not really sure what they're doing. Hangman rolls out of the ring. The Young Bucks get out of the ring. And they stop at the end of the entrance ramp, and they look back at Hangman Page, who's struggling to get to the back on his own, which everyone else had help. Even Okada had help from referees, and everyone just left Hangman, which is annoying. Poor Hangman. And they look at Hangman, and then Kyle O'Reilly gets kind of mad, and he's like, "What are you doing? Let's go!" And they leave. And then, of course, we get this Young Bucks promo, where they said, "All our friends are injured. We have no more friends here." And Matt goes, "Except for the one." And then Nick's like, "Oh yeah, our titles." but I think we're going to see an Elite reunion soon.
I absolutely think so. 100%. And that's just such a great little callback. And I love that we can tie it into ROH with the Hung Bucks as the former six-man champions. They're telling some great stories here, and it's only going to be that much more fun when we get Kenny Omega back, and you have the dynamic with he and Adam Cole, and there's going to be a lot to play with here.
Yeah, I think all of these guys have such a lengthy history with each other in ROH, on the Indies, and PWG, in Japan, all the places. I'm super excited for this story. My 2018 wrestling heart is so ready for this. I was heartbroken by, the Undisputed Era just being, the Undisputed Era. But we're back. We're back on track. The Elite is strong. I'm ready for it.
Should be a blast. And I mean, what else can you say? Just tremendous stuff. The match itself, I know a lot of people were disappointed we didn't get a Rainmaker out of Okada. We had to sort of scrap things due to Adam Cole's concussion. So hopefully he's able to recover from that. I would have to agree. It's probably the best live show I've ever seen. Live show, period. Not pay-per-view, not best thing top to bottom I've ever been in attendance for in my life.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. And I think I had texted Kyle this. When FTR won, I just lost my voice. It came back for Claudio. I screamed for Claudio. But Forbidden Door, if you haven't seen it, which I doubt there's anyone watching this that hasn't seen Forbidden Door, but if you haven't, I think it's well worth the pay-per-view buy. I'm going to buy it, and I'm just going to keep it forever. I loved this show so much. Do you want any other Forbidden Door thoughts, or should we talk Blood and Guts?
No, just glad to see that we do not have new Ring of Honor tag team champions.
Yes. Listen. I love Trent. I love Rocky, but FTR is on the run of a lifetime right now, and I would love to see them both at Death Before Dishonor and whatever other shows they end up having in the future. I would love to see FTR there. Trent and Rocky would do great. I'm not even going to mention the other guys because I do not like them. But Great O'Khan and ROH. I wouldn't be upset with it, but I would be upset with it. Anyway,
I'm sorry. I love me some Jeff Cobb though. I'm sorry. I just do.
I think Jeff Cobb, between his first appearance in AEW and this most recent appearance, I think he's really cleaned up as a performer and a professional wrestler. I think a lot of the criticism people had of him prior to being in Japan was he was a little bit sloppy, a little bit messy, a little bit he's a little choppy. Everything didn't flow well. I didn't see any of that in this match. I think he's really worked on his both like his footwork, his technical skill, everything. I thought this was great. I'm just not a fan of the stuff he's doing in Japan. I'm not a fan of a lot of what's happening in New Japan. I should probably say that before people come for me. The Jeff Cobb squad. But I thought he did good in this match. I was just so invested in FTR. So
nothing wrong with that. Not a thing. No, we can absolutely move on to Blood and Guts though.
So last night, because we're recording this on Thursday, it was Blood and Guts. They allotted like an hour for this match, but we also got Satnam Singh kind of promo. He spoke. He did do that, and they just continued to build Jay Lethal and Samoa Joe. I think Lee Moriarty's coming back soon. He's talking a little bit about that. I'm excited for Joe. I'm mad that we haven't seen Joe on TV. He's just kind of gone. And I'm not here for that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's surprised. He's done a few pre-tapes here and there, and those have been decent because if Joe has one skill, and he doesn't, he has a bunch of them. But if he has one skill, it's that he has the ability, similar to Eddie Kingston, not quite the same way, but they both have that skill to make you believe every single word coming out of their mouth. And Eddie's in a very different way than Joe, but they both have that basic ability. And like, and I'm a sucker for a Samoa Joe promo for just that reason, because he can make you think he's coming for you, and you're a dead man walking. And hey, Joe and Lethal should deliver a heck of a match. We'll get to that when we get talking about Death Before Dishonor in a little bit here. But I am surprised that he hasn't done more, and I'm not sure why that is.
I don't know. And of course, we could speculate. We don't know anything about what Samoa Joe's doing, or Jay Lethal for that matter. I can only hope that everything's okay and we're going to still get our match at Death Before Dishonor. But as for the actual Blood and Guts match, I thought this was the best Blood and Guts match they've had. And,
Out
there's no
of
surprise.
2 of them.
Well, yeah. It's no surprise given who was in it. I didn't think – a lot of people were saying it was, better than Anarchy in the Arena. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was there for Anarchy in the Arena. I don't know. I was excited for Claudio. I was excited for Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta was a monster in this match. I really liked it was Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta just going to town on Angelo Parker together as a group. I love that. I thought this match was really good, and I think everyone came out looking better. But of course, we had the unfortunate injury to Santana, and as far as I know, there's been no news on that.
No, I haven't seen anything either. A lot of the armchair analysts on social media and the like have said it looks like an ACL. And if that's the case, that's bad news. That's 6-8 months at least. So hopefully not. But I guess we'll see where it goes. As far as the match itself, can we give some flowers to 2.0?
So good.
They went from being an afterthought in NXT to being, they're one of the best acts going in AEW right now. They can bring it in the ring. They've got personality for days. Like, these guys are stars, and they do not get the credit that they deserve.
No, they took this sports entertainer thing and they're running with it in a way I would argue no one else in that group is. I think they fully embraced their new identities and their new characters. And I thought they did great in this match. I especially liked when Parker climbed through like the support and hung himself upside down. I thought that was great. I
spent a solid 5 minutes trying to figure out, how did he even get there?
He's skinny. He just slipped right through. It was weird, but it worked.
I'm skinny. I'm not sure I could do that.
You just gotta push. It's he's athletic. I don't know. He's good. I also thought I thought Daniel Garcia did great in this match. I think he's really coming into his own. When he first came to AEW, I did feel like he was a little unsure, maybe a little hesitant of relating to the crowd. In this match, I didn't see any of that. I think he's really found his place, maybe not as a sports entertainer, but as, Daniel Garcia in AEW. I thought he did great. Jake Hager was there.
That's also a thing that happened.
Yeah, we had a Jake Hager and Claudio standoff, which there's WWE history there, which I don't know if people watching this know that. I was not a fan of any of the We the People stuff. I think it's bad. And I think poor Claudio, Jake Hager was there. Like I said, he was there. He did some cool stuff with Claudio, though, I thought. I thought it was really interesting to see Claudio picked up and, suplexed, picked up and body slammed. I thought that was great. Overall, though, I feel like this was definitely the Eddie Kingston and Claudio show.
100%. And I'm excited to continue to write about that, and I'm going to continue diving in and researching that for this piece coming up soon for Body Slam here. But uh, I love that the finish played into it so brilliantly.
Yes.
Eddie's gotten his hands on Jericho where there's no escape. He's got the stretch plum locked in. This is everything. He's going to force Jericho to tap out and end the match. But nope. Claudio Castagnoli's there, and he tapped out Matt Menard in the sharpshooter. And Eddie's happy that his team won, but once again, Claudio Castagnoli has stolen the spotlight from him. And
yes.
I said this on Twitter as well today. I genuinely thought in all the post-match, because there was a lot of post-match. They had a good 4 or 5 minutes at least after the match was over. I genuinely thought he was going to dust Claudio with the back fist right there on top of the cage. I genuinely did.
That's what's really interesting. It brings me back, and I don't want to go too much into the history but back in the day, Eddie Kingston was in Chikara. He was convinced that Claudio was this like snake, and he was this rat, and no one saw it but Eddie. And now it's kind of like this weird thing where Eddie is kind of like forcing himself not to see it, and he's like, "Oh, Claudio, like you upset me, but you know." Mox is your friend, and Mox is my friend. So he's kind of like, I don't want to say he's moved on from it, but he's fist bumping Claudio. They're like hugging, they're working together. It's weird. And I know Eddie's about to get his heart broken by this snake, Claudio.
It's great because, and I'll give you a little preview because I am talking about this as well, because in Chikara, Eddie was right.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie walked away from Claudio. He said he couldn't respect Claudio because he knows who Claudio is. Left him laying with the back fist when Claudio tried to stop him. And this was at the season, 9? I forget which season number, 8 or 9. 8, 9, and 10 are running together for me because there was almost a whole season where they had very little interaction despite the feud still ostensibly being a thing. At the next season... This was at the season finale. He said, I can't respect you because I know who you are. At the literal next season premiere, Claudio joins the Bruderschaft. Claudio turns heel and joins the group that's trying to take over Chikara.
Which, if you haven't watched Chikara, that's like a big deal because they have like a ref on their side. They're like working their way up. They're going to take over Chikara. And Eddie saw it. Eddie knew Claudio was going to do that. No one believed him. People booed Eddie for the longest time. Well, and then, and of course, in their final match, Eddie was, the final like portion of their feud, Eddie was the babyface, Claudio was the bad guy. But no one believed Eddie. And now here we are in AEW. And we see Eddie once again saying, Claudio, I don't like you. I know who you are. And I have proof that you are who I think you are. But then the blood and guts, we see this turn where Eddie's like, is he though? Like, is he a bad guy? They work together. And then Claudio steals his thunder. And Eddie once again is like, no, wait a minute. Is he still who I think he is? And he kind of doesn't want to believe it. And that it's super interesting. It's an interesting take on it because they could have easily done the snake in the grass story again with Blackpool Combat Club, and they didn't. They twisted it a little bit, and I love it.
Yes. The Bruderschaft des Cruces. They had their own referee, as you said, and part of the reason why this has persisted to this day, and I'm giving away a lot, but you know what? I don't care. I love this angle. I'm such a fan of it. They had a match late in that season. I think it was actually into season 10, technically. And Claudio got the win over Eddie. It was supposed to be a big, huge match for the two of them. Claudio got the win with the crooked referee and interference from the Bruderschaft and everything else. And pro wrestling storytelling as well as I do, of course. Mm-hmm. That's the story that you tell right before the babyface gets his ultimate vindication.
But he never did.
Well, 6 months later, Claudio is making his debut in WWE. Claudio leaves.
Heartbroken.
Eddie never gets his vindication. I mean, in a way, he kind of does. He becomes Chikara's first grand champion in an excellent match with Mike Quackenbush at High Noon on their pay-per-view debut. But
Claudio got away with it. Claudio got away with it. And now he's getting away with it again. And I'm just so excited to see where this goes. And we've kind of diverged from the ROH. But, I mean, this has a lot to do with ROH, so we're going to stick with it. I thought
Claudio may be an ROH talent when all is said and done. We still don't really know.
I mean, I wouldn't
maybe
be
he leads an ROH.
to it.
Maybe he leads an ROH contingent of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Listen, I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I wouldn't be opposed to Eddie popping in there. I wouldn't be opposed to any of my favorites being ROH because I love ROH.
Eddie at one point had a banger of an ROH World title match against Kevin Steen at one point. It was in Chicago. It was a tremendous contest.
Okay. My final thoughts on Blood and Guts. It was incredible. I think everyone should go out of their way to see it. We're recording this on Thursday. It was last night. I don't know where you watch Dynamite, TNT. I don't know. Go find it and watch it. And let us know what you think about this Claudio Eddie story. Because I am intrigued. I am obsessively thinking about it.
To me, it stands up with the best War Games matches.
Yes.
And that's high praise because those from the early 90s were all tremendous. So I guess, is there any other news that we wanted to cover, or should we dive into a little talk of Death Before Dishonor?
No, I think we covered all the news. It only took us 40 minutes. Let's talk about Death Before Dishonor. So we talked about, did we talk about this when it was first kind of, I think we did. Death Before Dishonor, July 23rd in Massachusetts, I think it is. Yes, we have nothing for this card. We have nothing for this card yet. We got 3 weeks. Kyle, I want to know, what do you think the main event is going to be? I need to know.
I don't. For a second, I wonder if they're going to go 3-way, but I don't think they will. I think they'll just do Jonathan Gresham versus Brian Cage 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Cage is a big star, all things considered. He's the crown jewel, if you'll forgive the embassy reference, of Tully Blanchard Enterprises. We teased Gresham and TBE on Rampage just before Forbidden Door. So I think we're building to Jonathan Gresham versus Brian Cage, the octopus versus the machine.
Yeah, and I think we're running into an issue with ROH where there's no roster, so it's like, I don't know. Of course, we're going to get Jay Lethal, Samoa Joe. I don't think there's any reason why they wouldn't do that match outside of injury. And they've been building that for a long time. That's probably our only match with significant build. I said this before we went live. I think we're going to get Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia because there's already a story there. There's already a feud there. They could just plug that in so easily and go with it.
Yeah, Garcia has even said, "I'm taking your title." When the Jericho Appreciation Society beat down Yuta this past Tuesday on Dark after his pure title match against Tony Nese. Garcia posed with the pure title over Yuta. Like, this could not be any clearer if it was in 10-foot tall neon letters.
Yeah. I don't know what our tag match is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if FTR, they're on the poster, so I'm pretty sure they're on the show. I wouldn't be surprised if they just have a match with a couple of guys just to really solidify FTR as, dedicated to the ROH tag division. But Tony Khan does love his surprises, so we could also get a surprise and have, a 5-star classic again in ROH. I don't know. And that's the crazy thing about this. I feel like we're shooting in the dark here.
Yeah. And God knows there's no shortage of teams with ROH history that I would love to come in for a one-shot to put over FTR. What are the Motor City Machine Guns up to? Like,
that's a good shout.
That'd be the Motor City Machine Guns. What are the American Wolves doing? I know Eddie Edwards is contracted with Impact right now, but I think I'm gonna have to let my Kings of Wrestling dream die, but I don't know. Yeah. So the point is, there's teams out there with ROH
Yeah.
history that could absolutely step in and fill that role, because I don't think you're taking the titles off of FTR right now. There's no reason to. There's no point. You don't have an established division. So realistically, you can book a one shot for this, and it'll be fine. We do have what we believe to be the makings of a women's match that has a fairly decent build on this show, if what we're both thinking is what's actually going to happen.
Yeah, so Mercedes Martinez is the ROH Women's World Champion, and they've kind of been building towards a thing with Serena Deeb, and they've kind of been on social media talking about each other a little bit. There's by no means, a blood feud happening here. But these are two incredible women's wrestlers, and I think both of them could find a home in ROH for a little bit. And I'm okay with this match happening. It's going to be good. Would I like to see a little more for the women's division? Yes, of course, I always do. But these are two world-class talents, and it's okay. I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, and they've the one-upsmanship of the feud is a perfectly good build for two characters like Mercedes and like Serena, who are established veteran presences, who have been around the block, who are both very, very good at what they do. I love the anything you can do, I can do better kind of aspect. And I think it's going to build to a tremendous match. They've been playing this game on Dark and Elevation, where they've been getting fed tag teams and just destroying them. I really think that this could be a lot of fun. And to my recollection, I'm looking it up now just to double check. Mercedes does not exactly have a great record against Serena Deeb. I believe she's only 1-2 lifetime in one-on-one matches with her. There you go.
Interesting. We could definitely get something going with that story-wise.
So, this would be great. I'd be a women's world title match that'd be almost guaranteed to deliver with some meat and some blood behind it.
Mm-hmm.
We could do worse.
We really could. And, I've seen Tony Khan do worse. So I'm going to take this. I'm not going to look the gift horse in the mouth. I'm just going to accept this as it is. As for other matches on the card, I don't know. I think we'll probably see Best Friends do something. I think Tony, he hasn't done a whole lot with Best Friends in AEW. I wouldn't be surprised if not a match, then an appearance. I think we'll see a lot of appearances from ROH alumni. But like we said, there's no roster. There's no one. So I don't know. It could be anyone that shows up.
I mean, we have people that have shown up. Silas Young has shown up on AEW television.
Yeah.
Dalton Castle has shown up, and he, of course, got the world title shot at Battle of the Belts. So it's entirely possible he's still in their orbit. Josh Woods has come around a couple of times, and I need him and Rhett Titus to come back because I need the Foundation back, because that was a tremendous group and they need more love. So we're seeing a few guys here and there pop up, but yeah, like you say, we really don't have a clue right now. And the fun part about the nature of the business right now is that there are so many free agents right now that are so good at what they do. I mentioned two names earlier. Biff Busick and Timothy Thatcher are both floating around on the independents right now, and are both floating around as free agents right now. Either one would be a tremendous addition to Ring of Honor. Picture either one of them against Wheeler Yuta for the Pure title.
Gold.
Tremendous. So I like we said, we had concerns going into Supercard of Honor as well about, oh my God, are they going to pull this off? And operating without the framework of a roster lets you put together whatever insane show you can dream up. So I mean, in a way, there's almost a benefit to that, at least for now.
And Tony does love his surprises. I was going to say this when we talked about Claudio. When something goes wrong with the show, someone's out, there's an issue, whatever, Tony Khan loves a good surprise to make good with it. And Claudio was a great surprise for a show that had a lot of bad that happened to a lot of people. And with this ROH thing, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, we don't have a TV deal yet. We thought we would have a TV deal by now. We haven't done much of anything with the promotion. Here's a nice surprise. I think he also probably needs to do something for, like the casual AEW fans who aren't, ROH fans. Bring someone over, do something. I think we'll definitely see a lot of AEW presence there. Because Tony has said in interviews, especially recently, that ROH is going to be its own distinct thing, but, they're going to be connected intrinsically. So I'm excited for that. I hope that at the show we either get an announcement for another show or an announcement for TV. I don't know if we will, but overall...
I'm going to put it in the universe. I'm going to hope that we will, because that is my 40th birthday that weekend. It's going to be my birthday present. It's going to happen.
We have all the energy going for us. We just need to manifest it. So let's do it.
Absolutely.
For Kyle's birthday, Tony, if you're watching, for Kyle's
Make
birthday,
this happen.
he wants ROH news, ROH TV deal, another show. Let us know what's happening. We need to know. I thought ROH was dead, and then he dangled the carrot in front of me, and we've just been chasing it this whole time. Tony.
Hey, we've had a grand old time doing it though. So
we really have. But that's all we have for Death Before Dishonor. That's all we have for you guys on the show. ROH is slowly but surely moving forward. We're getting there. And I'm so glad you guys, as Kyle likes to say, are joining us on this ride. I'm just excited. I think the show Death Before Dishonor is going to be great. I think Wheeler Yuta is great. Jonathan Gresham, he's going to show up. I don't know why he's not in AEW, but he's going to be there. He's world champ. I'm excited. I thought this was a great week for Ring of Honor.
100%. It's going to be fun to see where we go from here. And like you said, I will continue to exhort the people to hop on the bandwagon with us. There's lots of room. We're very welcoming. Sometimes we have snacks.
We're good people.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to figure out what's happening from here. And by all means, hop on board. This is going to be a blast. We want to be able to interact with you guys on Twitter, on social media, in the show, in the comments about what's happening. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear what you want to hear about. And you can't do that unless you're watching. So tune in, check out ROH content on Dark and Elevation, get Honor Club so you can study up, and let's do it.
And if you don't want to study, Kyle's a historian. Just follow him on Twitter and send him your questions. He'll answer them. He loves it. Kyle, do your plugs.
Yeah. Find me on Twitter at Kyle K. Sparks. I am usually there. I try to live tweet Dynamite Rampage, especially when I get the opportunity. I try to keep my thoughts going there about different things. Anything that I'm working on, I'll usually be plugging there. And otherwise, Mondays at 3, I'm here doing Code of Honor podcast with Kiley, unless we're traveling or I've got COVID or whatever else might be happening. And this is a blast. I've been following wrestling for 30 years plus, and I'm having a ball doing this now. And so give me a follow. More importantly, give her a follow because she's fantastic. And where can they do that?
You can follow me on Twitter at Fuller_Kiley. Our producer put up, read Kyle's editorial on Claudio and Eddie. Definitely do it. This man has the mind of a machine. He knows everything that's ever happened in wrestling.
I'll be sure to put it up on my Twitter when it's done.
Yes. Follow me on Twitter at Fuller_Kiley. You can also see me here every Monday at 3. You can also see me every Sunday at 5 on Fightful Overbooked for Tag Talk. It's a show all about tag team wrestling. This will air after this week's Tag Talk, but we haven't filmed this week's Tag Talk yet. But we're going to film an episode focused on FTR. This is our most requested episode of anything to talk about. People love FTR. I've cultivated a little FTR cult, I guess, on my Twitter. But we're just going to be deep diving into FTR's career. We're going to track their peaks and their valleys. We're going to give our opinions. I'm going to post on Twitter and get your questions for us about, FTR's history. And we're just going to have a good time with it. I love FTR. My co-host Haley loves FTR. So this will air after that episode is already up. So make sure you go watch that. And yeah, anything else I'm doing at Fuller_Kiley, I'll just post it on there. Follow at Code of Honor Cast on Twitter. That's us. Send us your questions, requests for topics, anything you want to send us at Code of Honor Cast on Twitter. Follow Body Slam on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, on all the social medias. On if it's out there, we're there. Buy Body Slam merch on Pro Wrestling Tees. Read Kyle's editorial on Claudio and Eddie. Go to bodyslam.net for more incredible editorials and news from our incredible staff of writers. We've really got a good group going right now. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.